Hello, everyone, and welcome to another office hours. Hey, Dima, how you doing?
Hello, good to be back.
Good to be back. Yeah, 2 weeks have passed, and here we are. Today, actually, the main topic was supposed to be about the pre-release of 0.15, but you all are in for a treat because uh, it's going actually to be sort of release because during this week already the release notes are going to be out there along with the new version. So, Dima, are you excited?
Yeah, I am. I think it's a very exciting release from a lot of reasons because it has some very long expected feature, which we will soon reveal, and we will discuss it in the previous office hours. So whoever was in the office hours probably knows about it. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, really, really exciting release, and we've been doing. I'm not sure if it's was already sent, so we're doing our official offsite in the beginning of June. So the team will be obviously still available for support, but we are changing a bit, kind of the release cadence for this upcoming 2 weeks. So we will have a
Yeah.
very brief release right after like in 2 weeks from now almost, so it's going
Mhm.
to be a very interesting release with some changes, and we can touch them a bit later, but we're a bit changing the timing of the releases than we usually did, so really, really exciting.
Amazing. So let's just quickly, briefly greet the people we have here on this live stream. So we have Paolo here. Please, if you see this, type where you're from so we would know and could say hello to you before we could dive right into what we have prepared. So, Dima, where are you from?
I am from Tel Aviv, Israel, so almost Tel Aviv. Like, I just tell
Almost.
people I'm from Tel Aviv. I'm from
It's just
nobody,
easier.
nobody knows where my town is, so it's just much easier.
I feel the same. Like I'm just telling people that I'm from the north of Israel, and that's it because like it's just in the middle of kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I've been
Okay,
actually talking with Pavel this morning and or yesterday, I don't remember when, and he's like, "Yeah, I live very close to my parents, and it's like a 1.5 hour drive, and like for us, it's
one and a half. Oh my
and it's
god.
like in Israel, it's like you can drive the whole country in 1.5 hours.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we probably with you are apart in kind of 1.5 hours, and I feel like you are like a lifetime year away from me, and
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
takes
It's
so
just a
long
matter
to actually arrange something.
of relative distance.
Yeah. So we have Paulo from Brazil. We have Aitam from Pakistan. We have, I read it as Michael. Michael, good to see you from Poland. Um, and David, of course, from Sweden. Sweden won the Eurovision this year. Amazing. So, yay, go Sweden. Um,
Yes.
all right, so let's dive right into what we have prepared. I'm going to share your screen, Dima, and I'm going to be a bit of the stream, so you could explain what we have now, and I will jump like when I have
But
questions
don't
or
leave me.
whenever someone I can
I
stay.
feel now you're leaving me. I feel alone now.
No, so all right. So I will stay on the frame, but I'm
You
just going to mute myself. We have Prosper from London with
Yes.
the new king.
Yes. Good to see you, Prosper. Awesome. So before we start with the release kind of contents of this release, one of the things that I would love to um, maybe discuss and touch is that we have recently updated our public roadmap, and this is basically from previously we've been managing it on GitHub, but it was very hard for us to keep up to date the synchronization between the active development and the actual roadmap statuses. So we found an amazing tool we are starting to use, which is called Product Lane, and basically it helps us to consolidate all of the incoming product feedback we are getting from GitHub, from meeting notes with customers, from Discord, from emails, from Intercom. We have a lot of sources of feedback and information and feature requests and a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
Um, and we actually started to consolidating all the feedback into a single place because it became very hard, and we're getting, like, I think in the volumes of 50 kind of inquiries a day, 50 to 30 inquiries a day regarding
Crazy.
different topics, feature suggestions, and a lot of things going on. And we try to, obviously, we can't do everything. We are quite a small team, but we're trying to prioritize the things that do come in and kind of make sure that we are taking into account, the more requested features and less requested features, and etc. um, One of the things I would love to show, and this is basically our new roadmap page.
Yay!
It's really cool. It is a dark themed, all the important.
Yay!
And the link is available. Maybe, Emily, you can share it also in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. I will share in a second.
Yes.
It's one of
So
the most exciting thing that I have seen in a long time because I dreamed about this moment where we actually will have a functional feature upvote kind of type of situation. So
yes. And basically, you can also find it in the uh, README section under the roadmap area here, so you can go and visit it by
okay.
yourself. But the main thing here is basically we have the current in progress projects we are having, the planned projects, and the backlog stuff. Um, some of those things are mostly more of a bigger side of projects. There are a lot of maybe small fixes or, just a ticket size or an issue size requests that are not part of this list. So this is more of a bigger theme projects that might require a bit more intricate work. Some of them, we also track individual smaller requests, but they're not visible here. So here you will see mostly the projects and kind of the bigger scope tasks that are an actual project, so to speak. And again, this smaller feature request is just maybe adding like a small field to somewhere or something like this. Is something we track also, but it is not available here. So if you are missing something or you just want to share some feedback with us, you can go to the roadmap page, write your feedback, attach a screenshot or something like this, and after that, write your importance and you can submit this request to us. We are getting those requests, we are going over them daily, and then prioritizing and kind of maybe do some follow-up calls or things. And
One of the things that came to my mind is like we also at Novu using sometimes, of course, other services and platforms where we do need some features where they also have this kind of a roadmap, like upvoting and feature upvoting thing. And you could, if you have like a really interesting feature or a feature that is not currently available but you really want us to work on it, you can hype up all the company that you work at and all the people in your social media and go to upvote this feature, so it would get our attention, like trick the system, but otherwise I think it's great.
yes, and we are always using this kind of a both approach for quantitative and qualitative, feedback. So this is taking into account, okay, there's 20 people ask for it, but then we're also going and trying to understand a bit deeper what exactly do they need and how they need it. And
Yeah.
also, I'm excited, Paolo. We are just started to plan the multi-tenancy things, and I'm looking for people to jump on a call with them and discuss, what multi-tenancy do you need in your situation and how can we help with this, because multi-tenancy is quite a big word. So feel free to jump on a call with me on Discord. I would love to maybe schedule a short 20-30 minute chat with you to hear about the multi-tenancy needs. And we trying more and more involve into the pre-planned work, and to engage the community when it comes to getting feedback about what's, we are working on something. Hey, what do you think about it? And like maybe playing a bit with the mocks of the designs and hearing basically what problems are you trying to solve with this feature, and would really, if anyone is needed in any of the backlog items that are, for example, located here in the planning section, and you want to share, your 2 cents, you can also go and you can actually click on this item, and then you can also write some comments and provide a bit more of your use cases, and just to make sure we are covering the things that you actually need based on that, because we might do something else than your expectation, for example, or your use case you're trying to solve. Um, So this is the roadmap. Really exciting. Go ahead, check it out. We'll keep it up to date and keep updating it as things progress. The reason we are not doing um, some sort of, okay, this is going to be released in December and this is in January from 1 year from now, and like in 6 months from now, is because we learn so much new things each week we are here. So the backlog is constantly reprioritized based on the new learnings we are getting, things changing urgency because we learn some new things we didn't know about. And when it comes to that, it's very helpful for us to kind of provide you some of the planned things we have in terms of, okay, this is something we would love to do in the upcoming future. But on the other hand, is it's not set in stone that this is the only thing we are doing or something like this, because again, we're constantly learning. But at least the in progress and the plan section is something that, meaning that we are already considering it, we are already doing some investigations about how can we achieve that, and working from there. So this is the new roadmap. Really exciting. um,
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go back to 0.15 and what is the contents of the version and some of the things that we are really excited to share with the global community. Um, so one of the things that we discussed also in the previous office hours, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago, right? And some of the
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
well, yeah, time passes, time flies fast.
Yeah.
And we discussed the schedule digest, and the schedule digest is basically the ability to do scheduling mechanism for a digest. For example, let's say you want to do once in a day or once in a week at 9 a.m. schedule notification that will be sent to your users in a repeated manner, just like once in a month, twice a week, or something like this. Previously, the way that the digest worked with the regular digest functionality we have today is that if something is like we receive an event, and then if this event is part of a digest, it will create a new digest or join an existing digest, and it always will create a digest window, let's say 5 minutes from now. So if you are doing it at 9:02, we will send it at 9:07. So it really, you can't really have this once in a week at 9 a.m. functionality. I mean, you can with overriding it in the API, but it's a very complex kind of scenario, which is not very comfortable. And basically, what we are introducing in this new version is that we redesigned a bit the digest pane to make it hopefully a bit more clear, because previously it was a bit confusing for a lot of people, what are the different types and how it all works. So basically, the way we are using it right now is that we are having 3 sections for the digest pane. The first section is telling the sourcing of the events. What events will be digesting? As of now, we only can select all events in this section, but looking into the future, so things like only the unseen events or only the unread events, or some other types of filters. So this is basically telling, okay, I have collected all of those events, but which of those events should we actually send to the user? So this is where you can actually narrow down the list in the future. The second part is the aggregated by functionality. So the aggregated by functionality by default works with the subscriber ID. And this is how it is today, and you cannot change it. However, you can actually introduce an extra key to be aggregated by. For example, you want to aggregate it by the subscriber ID, and let's say you are a task management system and the actual task ID. For example, you want to consolidate all the task, all specific task updates or project updates into a single digest. For in case you have multiple projects, again, a bit coming to the maybe the situation, you can actually create a digest per tenant or per project for this particular subscriber ID. So this is something which is a bit more clear now, because previously it was a bit confusing for users, like based on what we aggregate. So I hope it creates a more of a visual kind of representation of the flow of things, and like we are getting all the events, we are aggregating them by the subscriber ID. And then the next question is that when it will be sent. Uh, the first variation is it will be actually sent based on the events. So what we can do is we can say, I want to digest events for 5 minutes before actually sending them. Let's say, or 10 minutes or seconds, or this is, again, this is the existing functionality. We just kind of redesigned it a bit. Hopefully, it will be able to help you a bit better. And then we have the frequent events functionality, which is basically meaning I'm going to send the first event, and this is the backoff you are all familiar with right now. And we created a bit of an illustration of how a backoff or the only frequent events functionality actually behaves, which was a bit of a confusing for a lot of users to understand what is a backoff, because it's not very intuitive in that sense. But basically what we're saying is that we are sending the first event, and then we are getting the second event, and we can check, okay, did this event previously was delivered in the last 5 minutes? For example, hey, I like your photo, for example, on Instagram, and then after a minute somebody else liked your photo, so we maybe want to start to collect the events before actually sending them. So this is that functionality, which I think is really cool. And then the star of the show that everybody was waiting for is the schedule digest. So the schedule based digest basically allows you to select, okay, I would love to deliver a digest on every X hours, every day in a particular hour, every week or every couple of weeks or every 4 weeks at a particular hour in a particular day of, and every month on a particular date of the month. Or if we're looking at the monthly cadence, I can say I would love to deliver on the first, let's say, weekday or weekend or Monday or Tuesday of a particular month, because maybe this month Tuesday is on a different day, for example. So this is the scheduling event, and basically what will happen. I don't want for us to wait the whole day before we can actually deliver something. Basically, once you schedule that, you can send events, and then a single email will be delivered at this specified interval that you have created here. I think it's really exciting because it opens the door for a lot of really cool types of notifications that previously you had to create your own cron jobs or do some kind of more complex things to do those calculations. But right now, Novu basically can take care of it for you and actually say, hey, you know what? Just tell me when you want it. You can just send the events the way you like them. As usual, something happened, just send it. And then Novu will be able to actually aggregate this into a single event and deliver it, which I think is really cool. So this is the schedule digest. It was a lot of work from the team to actually make it happen and kind of in a more intuitive way, so you don't have to re-implement this whole thing. And this is really one of the maybe key items for the 0.15 release. It is backwards compatible, meaning you don't need to do anything special for supporting that, but it can just open the door for a lot of really nice use cases and things you can do with Novu. Yeah, and I have David also mentioning here that the aggregate buy is basically based on the actual batch digest key that was previously here. And again, it's backwards compatible, so you will just see it here, just kind of uh, a different naming for it. All right, so this is the schedule digest. One really nice thing that we also done here is that we created a playground for the notification center. And once you are from the getting started section, if you go to the in-app notifications screen, we created a small and playable basically notification center when you can actually see the embedded notification center inside the Novu UI. You can actually trigger an event and you can see it in real time available here. So this is a very nice kind of way for you to try Novu before you actually decide if you need this feature or not. Once it's something you like, you can select either to configure it later. You can try our demo app, which is the demo kind of playground that you can clone to your computer and run it and see how it goes. Or you can select and choose one of our predefined either React guides and actually go and embed this inside your own application, which is a really, really nice addition. Part of this release was also a lot involved around basically making sure that you are that the workers and the worker engine behind Novu is much faster. So we've seen performance improvements for up to 50% in the processing time that we are handling notifications, specifically in the high concurrency and under high load situations. This will also be part of this release, and we will touch a bit more on it when we're introducing the release notes. So there is nothing special you would need to do for it to happen. This is just kind of a magic thing happen behind the scenes, and we will keep investing more and more time into the performance or aspects of Novu as we progress. But this is, I think, it was a very big leap forward, and this is following up our previous releases. That's, I think it's the second or third consecutive release that we're doing a lot of performance tunings and optimizations for the actual trigger engine behind the scenes. So this is the in-app we touched. Another really exciting things, I must say, is the, I don't even know how to call it, but it is just like a developer experience improvement in terms of how do you use Slack. So one of the things that we introduced this is, and we've heard from you that there is a complexity to actually obtain the Slack Slack webhook URI from the Slack system, meaning that you need to create a server that the Slack API can redirect to. You will obtain this webhook key. You will need then to contact Novu API to actually assign this webhook URL onto our system, and only then you can actually send the notification to Slack. So what we changed in this release is that in the Slack integration window, you can actually specify the redirect URL. And the redirect URL will basically just tell that once the user has obtained a webhook URL for him, this is where we should redirect the user after we store his webhook URL on our system. So the way you would do it is you would copy this link from the Novu system. You will actually put it here, and what you can do is you can actually replace this subscriber ID with your subscriber ID, basically. And what will happen to the user is that he will be redirected to Slack. He will select his channel where he wants to send notification. Back from Slack, the user will be redirected back to the Novu API. We will store this webhook URL on the actual subscriber entity, meaning that you don't have to call the set credentials you've probably previously had to send. And then we will redirect the user back to your system. So if I go to look at the current docs we have here, let me see here, and let's go to chat and let's go to Slack. So the previous kind of flow for generating the webhooks for your users was this kind of a more uh, a bit more of a intricate flow where you had to go and you had to configure all of those things. You had to create this HTTP server to listen to the Slack response. You had to, after you got the webhook URL back, you would need to call our API with the set credentials, and only then you can actually use Novu to send to this particular person. Basically, what happens right now is are removed, so you don't have to worry about them. The only thing you would actually need to do is you would just specify this, use this URL. You can actually navigate your users to this URL. We will handle the all Slack flow on your behalf. And once we finished with it, we will redirect the user back to your system and you can actually start sending the notifications. The really nice thing about it is that we are taking the complexity behind the individual provider flows. For example, the Slack flow is different from Discord and it's different from Microsoft Teams and it's different from Mattermost. What we're planning to do is that if you would love to support either one of them, the only thing you would actually need to change is this provider ID, and like instead of doing it with Slack, you would actually pass here Discord, and Novo will actually take care for it for you for all the different flows with the different providers and how they treat this thing. So once we'll release it, the docs will be available, so you can also check it out and try to play with it. This really moves a lot of the previous complexity with the chat providers back to Novu, so you don't really have to deal with it. You can just send this URL to your users, and Novu will actually figure out where to route it and how. Slack is the first provider we are supporting this for. Quite soon, this will be also available for Discord, Microsoft Teams, and Mattermost, which is really nice. So stay tuned. We are doing also some improvements to the actual guide of making it even easier for you to understand how to do things here. And this is kind of some of the plans we have for the next cycles to do some more guided tours of integrating Slack from A to Z, so you don't even have to go to our documentation to do that. So stay tuned. And again, the very complex flow of doing all of those things here is basically reduced to a single API call to Novu, and we taking care of it for you. This is the Slack optimization from our end. Let's see what else. I think this is the kind of key things here. We will be doing something really nice, but maybe we can tell a bit more about it for the upcoming versions.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been a lot of community contributions as well. I will publish soon all the stats on how many contributors we had in this release, and all the big changelog, obviously, with all the bug fixes and all the smaller changes we had once the actual release will be out. So this is for the 0.15 release. Really exciting one.
Yeah, we also on the DevX developer experience side working on creating really straightforward and much more friendly and framework oriented and environment oriented quick start guides to the documentation. So if you have anything in particular or any ideas or any vision that you think that if you like after you already got to know Novo and got to know how it works, what could help you to start faster, or what we could introduce you to in a more better way, just let us know through via Discord or even via our Twitter account. We all kind of really monitoring all of this and looking for ways to improve and to see how we can improve the experience overall. As for the beginners and for all of you guys who are um, already seasoned with Novo. Um, yeah. So Dima, can you maybe? I'm not really about, and I'm not really a fan of creating hype, but can you share with us what could we expect in the 0.16 version? Like, what are you working on right now in these days?
Yeah. For the upcoming cycle, we are doing a few really cool things, and the one of the things that we are working on is what we've heard from a lot of people is that sometimes they are maybe lacking. Sometimes you need to actually compile the workflows and have the different content for them and text, and maybe you don't think about other things you can do with Novu in terms of what workflows can you run with it, and maybe some workflow ideas you can actually utilize. So one of the things we are creating, and this is the first version of it, something we call the template store. And basically, the template store, and maybe I can share. Probably Nikolai will kill me, but it's okay. Um,
It's illegal.
I can maybe share a bit some of the sneak preview of what we actually was thinking to creating more of an interactive kind of flow. So maybe we can share it also with you quite soon. But basically, the template store is a list of templates of pre-made Novu workflows you can actually utilize and use in your system with a click of a button. So, for example, you already have a predefined design and content for a password change email and for a very common and repeated items. For actually, pre-configured, maybe with a digest template, delay, and a more intricate kind of scenarios where you can just with a click copy this template and actually use it in your system with maybe changing just a few things. Um, this is a very nice project that we are looking to expand also in the future, because this is something that can also be driven by the community, meaning that we can actually source templates in the future from different users we have and also from the open source community about what are the different use cases that you can achieve with Novo. And this is really the infrastructure for this, and this is the very first step in that direction. We will provide the list of our pre-made templates that we suggest for like a very common use cases. And with time, we will be also sourcing templates and workflows from our community back to Novu and kind of highlighting some of the peaks that we think are really cool when it comes to workflow. So if you have a particular workflow that you think could be a great fit that a lot of companies can actually use, please send me a message or send us on a Discord, maybe in the chat or in the general channel, some of your ideas, or if you have some here. And we would love to create them and put them on our template store. And I'm really excited about this one because I think it can help a lot of people to getting started with Novo much faster.
Yeah.
And all of those barriers about content, about styling, about all of those things, we can provide a really good starting points for those basically. So the template store is something that we are currently planning and working on. Another thing that we are will be introducing is the Novo predefined SMS providers. We have this already with the email providers available inside the integration store. So basically, for new users, you can send up to 300 emails a month when it comes to that. And we will be also adding a predefined SMS provider, meaning that you can actually try Novo with SMS workflows without connecting.
Your
Twilio
provider. Yeah.
join from, yeah, so you can start playing with the system, see how it goes, and if you find it useful, you can actually go and connect your Twilio provider. Uh, and this is really, I think, the main theme for the few releases we had previously is focusing a lot on the first day experience, on the getting
Yeah.
started scenarios of how people can, start with Novu, and maybe they were not familiar yet with it. Um, Another thing that is really kind of consolidating basically from our previous learnings we had, and some of the plans where we want to take Novu, is that if you look at the integration store today, there is email, there is SMS, there is chat, there is push, but you don't actually see the Novu notification center here. And this is because internally we've been treating the notification center a bit in a different way than we would treat the other providers we have. But beginning of next release, basically, um, we are actually moving the Novu in-app notification center to the integration store so you can manage it just as any other provider, meaning that you can change the settings. We will also provide a very nice guided tour of how you can implement basically Novu inside your application right from the Connect modal that you're seeing here. We do it today from this get started flow, but for people who might already started a while ago or they just about to connect Novu, you can actually follow the very guided tour from the connect modal here, and you can manage the in-app provider right from here. And one of the kind of reasons we are doing this whole thing is a very preparation for something really cool that will be coming hopefully in two cycles from now or two versions from now. This is something we already planned the infrastructure for, is also the ability to manage multiple providers of a specific channel. For example, you
Mm.
can create multiple providers of SendGrid, you can create multiple providers of email, and you can switch them as you go, versus you can only have a single SendGrid instance. This is very useful for a lot of multi-tenancy use case, and this is kind of part of the bigger picture. So you can have different providers. In the future, we could also fall back based on them. And again, this is mostly for us creating the underlying work to be able to support something that is a bit more bigger and also more exciting in the future. So um, this is regarding the actual notification center here. We are doing a lot of other, some sort of a boring but really cool stuff. For us is implementing also feature flagging so we can iterate in a much faster pace and we can release things on the ongoing basis. So hopefully we will be able to start our own, beta program or people who would love to get the features before everybody gets them. Um, so there is a lot of kind of infrastructure work we are doing in the meantime as well. What else? I probably missed a bunch of really cool stuff, but this is the main gist of it.
All right. I think that Dima, you can drink some water now. And if anyone has any questions or something that you would like us to address, to answer, and maybe maybe showcase briefly, feel free to type it right now in the comments and let us know. I will meanwhile also check if someone wrote um, if someone wrote anything to my inbox, because you can also before the office hours starting, you can type a request or a question that you would like us to address, um, like straight directly to my personal email, which is emil@novu.co, and let me know what you want us to talk about and what you want us to show. um, so yeah, I don't see any special request here. All right. Okay, so it was fun. Very exciting. I am mostly excited about the fact that everyone now can influence a bit, or at least show what you are interested in terms of features with our roadmap outvote page, which is truly awesome. I hope you would find it too. And yeah, and that's it. So we will wait for like few more moments. If you need anything long to type. Yeah, but anyway, if it's too long, and if it's something that you would like us to address a bit more thoroughly, of course, please. Oh, okay. We do have a question for Paulo. So, Dima, can you see the question?
Yes, I do. Paolo is asking if there is a way to edit notification template step directly from the API, and the answer is yes. We have the templates endpoint, and basically there is a put. I think it's a put or a patch request you can actually make to update it. We can share a bit more. Maybe you can jump to Discord on the support channel so we can send you the direct API reference and maybe instruct you how you can actually achieve that. But yes, you definitely can do that.
Yeah. So make sure that you are really inside of our Novu server, where you can get support, answers to anything that you wish. Um, yeah, it was timed out for the whole template. Oh, so you see this, Dima?
Yes, so basically the way you do it is you will need to persist. So basically you fetch the whole template on your end, and then you can modify a specific step, and you can then make this request. This is how we are managing it today with our own UI, basically when we run Novu. And this is something you can do as well. So I think what we can do is, I think we can actually also allow editing steps directly. I think I don't see a very big problem of exposing this API, but this is something we can maybe open as a GitHub issue, and we can also export this extra API to modify a single item. And as Prosper mentioning, the steps is an array, so basically you will need to pass the whole array back to the system, but you can modify a single step in there and then make the request. This is how our web interface is working today.
All right. So again, I want to thank everyone who came to this live event, and you dedicated from your time to be with us and watch what is new with the 0.15, and talk about what you can expect in the next version. We had a blast being here with you, and we hope to see you all in 2 weeks, where we're going to cover probably already the 0.16 release. By then, of course, the release notes and everything that you need to know about the 0.15 already will be out. And that's it. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Dima, for your time and all the thorough explanation. It was awesome.
All right. Thank you for hosting this.
Bye
Bye all.
bye.